Hi, hey, hello, and welcome to another wonderful episode of a Colts podcast. My name's Brandon, and I'm your co-host number one, co-host number two, my best friend, Andrew Moore. How you doing today, bud?
Doing fine, man. It's another great day to talk Colts football with you, and it's another big game, divisional matchup, Colts versus Jags. And I mean, it always seems like it's the Jaguars. What do we have to worry about? Well, the Colts always usually have trouble against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this week could be some of the same. So it's going to be a tough matchup. Colts can't take them lightly, but it's going to be fun. How's your week been?
Great. I love it when you say stuff like that. Always, sometimes, always, usually. Two words that mean completely different things. But you're right. We do always, usually, sometimes really suck it up against the Jaguars. I'm fine. I'm getting over the Black Plague. I had volleyball last night, and far too early in my recovery to be going and doing that nonsense. Before we get going here, shouldn't have put that up. Go follow us at a Colts podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the goods. Go follow us, say hi, and do all the things. Now, Jaguars beat the Bills last week, if you hadn't heard, in an absolute shootout. This week, the Colts are still, after that, minus 490 against the Jags, plus 360. The spread is 10 points, over-under at 47.5. Hammer the over. Our defense sucks. Trevor Lawrence against, let's just face it, the number one concern in the AFC South from year to year, typically. He's going to want to ball out against the old Indianapolis Colts. But we were kind of given a gift 2 weeks in a row here. Two not very good teams that somehow, some way still can really, really threaten you if you take them lightly. And they kicked the shit out of, a team that should not have lost to them the week before we played them. So just, the Bengals lost to the Jets. Now the Bills lose to the Jaguars. Kind of a little gift to our team, like hey, remember, this is an NFL team. You do have to show up and play football, and you have to be prepared. So a little bit of a gift there.
Yeah, and I think the Colts need to go into this game ready for a battle. And the way Frank Reich and Carson Wentz have talked this week about the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're certainly not taking them lightly. They know that this team can get after the quarterback. They know that this team can sneak up on you. And Trevor Lawrence, while he hasn't lit the world on fire, Trevor Lawrence is still a very good young quarterback. And the way that the Colts pass defense has been, I mean, you look at what they allowed against Josh Johnson, a practice squad quarterback for the Jets. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have plenty of success on Sunday. It's just, will the Colts be able to contain it, and will they be able to respond on offense? So it's a game that the Colts do if they want to continue to stay in the playoff hunt. Right now they're 2 games behind that final wild card spot in the AFC. These are the games they need to win, and they need to win them handily.
And we typically do win these ones, right? The ones we're supposed to. We talked about this with the Jets. But this division game, luckily this is at home. Luckily we play Jacksonville late in the season, and it's not going to be blazing hot. It's just a team that, because they're a division team, you tend to, every once in a while, even the Browns did it to the Steelers and the Ravens, over the years when they were not what they are now. So, got to be careful. Are you surprised by the odds?
Not really, because I think the Jags are on the same level as the Jets, and that's kind of how they were last week. Now, I think it should be a little bit different just because these two teams know each other so well. I mean, since Frank Reich took over as the head coach of the Colts, the series is split 3-3. So usually the Colts and the Jags do split the season series. So I think it maybe in that sense it could have been a little bit closer, but I as far as the odds go, I think they're probably where they should be.
Yeah. So Jags last week, 4 sacks against the Bills with in my opinion, a much more athletic quarterback, much better escaping. Josh Allen had a tough week. Other Josh Allen, great week. But Carson Wentz, he's going to need protection. Our offensive line has had its ups and downs. We talked about a little bit the front four of the Jets being pretty damn good, and we kind of ate them alive. I don't know that it's going to be so easy this week.
The Jaguars have a sneaky good defensive line and pass rushers, because they do run that 3-4 scheme, and they showed us last week against the Bills, if you don't take them seriously and you don't make sure you're on your P's and Q's, that they can take advantage of that. And especially Josh Allen, the outside linebacker out of Kentucky. I think he's in his third year now, it's third or fourth year, somewhere around there, but he's starting to come into his own, and he really wrecked the game for the Bills last week. He had a sack, he had an interception, and he had a fumble recovery. He had a huge game. And that defensive line getting pressure on the other Josh Allen, the quarterback for the Bills, that's what really kind of led the Jags to victory.
Yeah.
So the Colts really need to make sure that, again, they really handled, like you said, the Jets defensive line. I mean, looking back at the film, Quentin Nelson, when he was going up against Quinnen Williams, who Quinnen Williams is having a pretty good year, he's a pretty good young defensive tackle, completely stymied Quinnen Williams when Big Q was on him. So I think that's kind of what we need to see this week as well. You need to see that offensive line, whether Braden Smith is in there or not. Frank Reich said today he's fairly optimistic Braden's going to play, which is good. But I think you've seen over these past couple weeks, when the entire offensive line, the starting offensive line for the Colts is together, well, Matt Pryor was filling in and doing an admirable job, he's not Braden Smith. And when Braden Smith is in the game, I think the offensive line just takes another step, not only in the pass protection, but in the running game as well. So yeah, I mean, obviously we want to protect Carson Wentz every week, but I think there needs to be extra emphasis on it this week, just because of the danger that the Jaguars pass rush presents.
Yeah. Hey, fun fact, Carson Wentz has a better QBR right now than Josh Allen. Just saying. Yeah, I mean, I think Carson Wentz's mobility and the way he's been able to move, again, we've talked about this, up in the pocket. Okay. Things go well when he moves up. Things go bad almost, I'd say things go bad 2 to 3 times out of 5 if he has to escape left or right and get out of the pocket. It's just the way it's worked out this year. I don't think that's necessarily 100% on him, but he seems to make bad decisions with the football in the direction of which he throws the football, mostly when he goes left or right. I don't know why that is the connection there that I made, but it's kind of how it goes.
Right. Well, Carson Wentz last week against the Jets did a phenomenal job at really getting rid of the ball pretty quickly. And something that I pointed out in my Wednesday article is Carson Wentz is really starting to.
I can't get over the Wednesday name. I hate that it's just perfect, and I hate it.
So, as I was saying, what he is excelling at are the staples of this Frank Reich offense. I mean, the crossing routes. How many times have we talked about the crossing routes and how Frank Reich schemes those guys open? Well, Carson Wentz is really starting to hit those. The screen passes, getting the ball into Michael Pittman Jr., Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines' hands early, letting them go to work and letting them get yards after the catch. And then we're starting to see more of that RPO game, which you and I talked about. We thought we'd see more this year. And Carson Wentz, his ball handling on those is just doing a phenomenal job. He's still faking out the cameraman week after week. So those staples.
The best part about, you mentioned the staples of the Frank Reich offense, those crossing routes, Phil was able to hit those. Okay. But when the defense started saying, okay, no, we're not going to give these to you, Phil couldn't really hit that deep ball then. And that's where Wentz is having a great year.
Right. If you keep hitting those, the defense is going to come in, not only because of those, but then you've got Jonathan Taylor to worry about now as well. That's why there's so many more opportunities to throw it deep. And I want to get to this question by Kyle. Kyle says, asking if Chris Reed will get the start again this week at right guard. And I think he will. Chris Reed has been phenomenal playing at right guard. The Colts have been alternating between Mark Lewinsky and Chris Reed ever since Quentin Nelson came back. Chris Reed, who have played very well in when Nelson was out with that ankle injury, has slid over to the right guard and continued his stellar play. And I think the Colts offensive line has been a little bit better this year when Chris Reed is in there at right guard and Mark Lewinsky isn't. So I would expect Chris Reed to get the start again. I think he has supplanted Mark Lewinsky as the starter at right guard. And I think we're going to see that for not only the rest of the year, but I fully expect Chris Reed to be re-signed by the Colts and him to be the right guard long-term as well.
Jaguars are 12th against the run. And I do not care. I do not care if they have success early. I do not care if they have, back and forth success. We need to continue to run the damn ball. We need to do it all 4 quarters. I don't, and you didn't really feel this way, but I don't feel like it's been pressed very hard in the 4th quarter in any football game. We need to run the ball. Period.
So, and I put that in our notes that the Jags were 12th against the run. I was wondering what your reaction would have been to that, because I'm with you, man. I keep running the damn ball. When you have Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines back there, and we saw what happened when the Colts put such an emphasis on running the ball last week, they completely ate up the New York Jets. And I think when you have Jonathan Taylor, who is so hot right now, Nyheim Hines is starting to get it going. I think we saw Nyheim Hines get more carries than we'd seen in a long time, and that kind of built his confidence back up, gave JT spells when he needed it because the Colts were using him so often. Like I said, I don't want Jonathan Taylor to get 30 to 35 carries, but if the Colts can have 30 to 35 carries and split them up, give it 20 to Jonathan Taylor, 7 or 8 or to 10 to Nyheim Hines, maybe have Marlon Mack clean up the rest. That, I think, is a great recipe for success for this Colts team. So I want them to continue running the ball, continue putting an emphasis on it, and giving the ball to Jonathan Taylor early and letting him eat and letting him get rolling. So that way, when we do get to the 4th quarter, there's just no way that anybody can stop him.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that running the football takes up time and it keeps the defense off the field, and they're struggling. We don't need them tired. We need them off the field as much as possible. And I understand our offense kind of has a habit of occasionally of having big chunk plays that even if the defense has a great stop, they could turn around shit. They just scored already. We got to go back out on the field. Over under on JT 4th quarter carries, 1.5 over or under. I hope to God over.
I'm going to go with the over. The Colts need to give it to him more in the 4th quarter. And I think, simply put, we got to remember last year, the last time that the Colts and the Jaguars played, Jonathan Taylor had 252 yards and 2 touchdowns. That kid was on fire. His career high in rushing yardage that last game of the year last year. Jonathan Taylor shows that he can dominate against the Jaguars, and I fully expect him to have another huge game on Sunday.
So it looks like Matt is saying they gave up 139 to the Bengals, 159 to Arizona, and 198 to the Titans. So when they've played good running teams, they do give up the yards. So he mentioned, this could be opponent based. They could have played some, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at all of them, obviously. And I'm not gonna.
If they're giving up 198 yards to the Titans, and the Colts just ran for over 200 yards last week, I fully expect them to be around that mark again. And I think if the Colts are, then it's going to be a runaway win for Indianapolis.
What's JT need to catch up to Henry? 118, something like that.
100 and just a little bit over 100 yards, because Henry's sitting at 930 something, I think, and Jonathan Taylor's, I think, at 821. So
if he didn't get hurt, he really might have made it to 2,000 again.
He probably was going to, but I would bet money that by the end of this weekend, Jonathan Taylor is the league leader in rushing yards in the NFL.
Ooh, gonna go look for that one. I might actually bet money on that. All right, are we good on that? We get the picture, right? Trevor Lawrence, a little banged up last weekend. Lack of mobility for him this week, you think? Kind of like we saw with Carson after his ankles injury.
Right. And I don't think it's as severe as what Carson's ankle sprains were. The X-rays and the reports are that he has a low ankle sprain, and he is feeling quite a bit better than he did on Sunday already. So as far as it being too hampering for him, I don't think he's going to be like Carson Wentz was with his two sprained ankles and be a statue in the pocket. But Trevor
116.
116 for yards for Jonathan Taylor too.
Sorry.
To break to take over the lead from Henry. Anyways, back to Trevor Lawrence. So I think while he's not going to be a statue in the pocket, I do think it will still affect his mobility a little bit. And Trevor Lawrence, we've seen him be able to extend plays with his legs, be able to pick up first downs if needed. He's not a guy that takes off a lot. I would say that him and Carson Wentz probably take off about the same amount, maybe 3 to 4 times a game. But those are still big plays that can extend drives. And I think when your mobility is affected like that, I really think the Colts should let their pass rushers pin their ears back and really go after Trevor Lawrence. Let Kwity Paye, Al-Quadin Muhammad, Kamoko Toure, maybe not as much of a focus on kind of setting the edge like the Colts defense loves to do, but get aggressive with your pass rush. Let your defensive ends go out there and try to put pressure on this rookie quarterback. And especially with Kwity Paye. Kwity Paye, I think, had his best game of the year against the Jets. He didn't get a sack, but he was close on numerous times, and he had 7 pressures. And sometimes that's all you need to do to affect the quarterback. So I think we're on the cusp of Kwity Paye getting his first sack. And who knows, that might just be
kind of unbelievable that he hasn't had one yet.
That might just be the breakthrough that he needs, though, so he can get that confidence, and then maybe it starts everything rolling for Kwity Paye, where he can consistently produce.
I thought that one where he didn't physically force the sack, but it was that sack was because of him. I really thought that would be like the moment, like, oh yeah, I got this. But he's come so close so many times. I'm just dying for him to get one.
Well, even in the end of the Jets game, they started chipping Kwity Paye because he was generating that much pressure. They were having a running back over to that side, chipping him, so that way he couldn't get to the quarterback. So Paye's close. He really is. And I think once he finally does get that sack, then I think we're going to start seeing that production more and more. But just because
I hope Trevor Lawrence is limited in mobility, because we cannot deal with rollouts. We cannot deal with him running.
Right.
He'll eat us alive. I mean, he really will.
Right. And we talk about the Colts pass defense and how bad it is, and deservedly so. I mean, the cornerback, Xavier Rhodes in particular, has been awful. The safeties, since Julian Blackmon and Kari Willis have been out, George Odom, Andrew Sendejo have been atrocious. But at the same time, the pass rush still isn't getting home. And those guys can't cover forever.
They got to help.
It's got to be the pass rush has to help those guys and get to the quarterback faster and create pressure, so those guys on the back end don't have to cover all day, because they're struggling mightily. So it's almost like a twofold. I think if the pass rush gets better, we'll see the secondary have some more success as well.
Eberflus has got to do something this week in regards to the pass defense. We're going up against a rookie quarterback. These are games that he's flourished in the past. Eberflus has. But there's just something missing this year. I don't know what it is. I'm getting fed up. What does he need to do? What changes need to be made this week to have a little more success against? Again, we've talked about this in the past. This team has talented wide receivers. This team has talented weapons on that offense. They're not clicking at all yet, but I'm telling you, that team's got some weapons.
It's good. It's good for the Colts that DJ Shark is out for the season with his lower body injury. But you're right. The Jaguars still have Marvin Jones. They still have Laviska Shenault.
Who almost caused the Colts to lose last year in the second game against the Jags.
Right. They have some athletes there, and that's the thing. That this pass defense, things need to change, and I think the Colts know this. Frank Reich has had conversations with Eberflus. I know for a fact Jim Irsay isn't happy about what's going on. Jim Irsay tweeted this week that the Colts very well could be 5-3 at this point, or
Mhm.
6-3 at this point. But and he even said that if we hadn't have given up those late leads against Baltimore and Tennessee, well, the pass defense had a huge part in that. So as far as what changes we could see, I could see that the Colts maybe blitzing a little bit more to try to create more pressure on Trevor Lawrence. Maybe seeing
That has not worked well for us this year.
right, maybe seeing if Darius Leonard or Bobby Okereke want to come up the middle. Something we haven't seen is Kenny Moore really coming off the edge a lot. The Colts could switch that up, but I think the biggest thing is since the Colts are going up against a young rookie quarterback, and Trevor Lawrence is a very, very smart quarterback, even though he's young. I think that the Colts will use a lot more disguise this week than maybe what they normally do to try to throw Trevor Lawrence off this game. Maybe try to confuse him a little bit, give him some looks that the Colts have used, but then switch it up and they're in a completely different defense. So I think that's one area that the Colts can attack them. But again, I think it just comes back to the pass rush and the secondary kind of working in sync with one another. The pass rush needs to really work to get home. Maybe instead of dropping instead of what Matt Eberflus likes to do, which is sometimes drop the defensive ends in coverage, maybe just let them keep going. Let them get those rushes. Maybe send an extra guy, like Kyle was saying earlier. Maybe get the no, actually it was right here. What Kyle said earlier, maybe get Taylor Stallworth some more touches. He had 2 sacks last week against the Jets and showed himself showed us that he can still ball. And yeah, I know I said Okereke wrong again. I'm still trying to get used to that.
There. That was awesome.
Yeah. Anyways, but like I said, more pass rush, and I think that will help out the secondary a lot, and then mostly disguising the defense for a young rookie quarterback.
I don't know why we don't do more disguising all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm not a defensive coverage expert, so I can't sit here and pretend to know, but
just the thought. Well, I mean, what I would like to see personally, I don't think
maybe like against a second or third string quarterback for the Jets.
I don't think the Colts will do this, but what I would personally like to see is more press coverage. Let these cornerbacks get their hands on the wide receiver every single play. The Colts allow these wide receivers free release from the line of scrimmage, and then it just seems like they're behind from there. The cornerbacks are constantly chasing the wide receivers around the field. They're not throwing off the timing of the routes. They're not doing anything. The defense is just so passive, and there's no aggression for the defensive backs on these wide receivers.
You can knock a receiver on his ass within 5 yards, right?
I mean, Rock Ya-Sin is one of the most physical cornerbacks that the Colts have, and the Colts are having him lay off 10 yards off of coverage, not allowing him to get the hands on the wide receiver. And I think that's something that Rock Ya-Sin has excelled at in his first 3 years in the league. That's what I would like to see. I don't think Matt Eberflus is going to do it, but I think that's a change that would be welcome to this Colts defense.
Andrew, who's your X factor of the week?
My X factor is actually going to be Braden Smith this week, because I think that pass rush of the Jacksonville Jaguars can be very potent, especially with Josh Allen coming off probably one of his best games of his career, if not the best game of his career.
Yeah.
And while I think Matt Pryor is a serviceable fill-in, and I think he's done a very good job this year filling in for Braden Smith when he's been out, kind of goes back to what I said before. This Colts offensive line just takes it up another level when Braden Smith is in the game. And that's why I think when Braden Smith's in the game, we really don't need to worry about anything with the protection on Carson Wentz. And I think the Colts can put up another 30 to 40 points against this Jaguars defense. Who's your X factor?
Mine is Matt Eberflus.
Oh, I like that.
Going with the old D coordinator. I'm sick of it, man. Our offense, I know Carson's had a couple weeks, and I know I've not been happy with Frank, but I think we've been a little too giving to Matt Eberflus over the year, especially because, and it's probably because the defense was so damn good last year, and we're baffled, and we keep thinking, oh, Darius is a little banged up. Oh, I know the secondary is a little banged up. and excuse. I'm not giving him anymore. And I need to see an improvement.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think I think it needs to start happening very soon because yeah, we got the Jaguars this week, but after that it's at Buffalo. After that, Tampa Bay comes to town. Those offenses, if the defense doesn't put up a fight, those
Yeah.
defenses are going to eat the Colts alive. I mean, hell, Drew Brees last year when the Colts played the Saints, or was that 2 years ago? Drew Brees had one incompletion that day.
It was 2 years ago, I think. That was
Is
tough
it
night.
yeah, is it out of bounds or is it outrageous to wonder if Tom Brady would possibly go perfect that night if the Colts
No.
defense doesn't step it up? Like that could be a very big possibility that Tom Brady goes something absurd like 30 for 30 for 300 yards and 4 TDs.
I cannot handle the Colts being the poster board, or the poster child for Tom Brady's great record that he breaks in a single game. I can't handle it. I'll die. I cannot. I'll pick a new team. I can't handle it. I'll be so pissed. So don't even say something like that. But I'm not kidding you. I'm talking. If we keep giving up 30 points a game, he's got to go before the end of the year.
I don't think he will.
It won't happen, but I'll that's what I'll be calling for. And I'm not usually dramatic. Fire the coach right now. But I'm not shitting you. I cannot handle watching this team give up 30 points.
I don't think he will, but I wouldn't be. It wouldn't be outrageous for me to think if he was fired midseason or even after this season if this Colts defense doesn't start stepping it up.
But you know what? Frank Reich's the head coach too. And he's the guy that's got to be holding them accountable. So I think things could get real interesting this year if things take a real negative turn. I'd be interested to see what happens at the end of the season if this year takes a negative turn. But we'll not talk about that right now. Andrew, do you want me to do the prediction? Do you want to do the prediction first?
I can go first. That's fine. I think Colts by a million. I think this is going to be I think the Colts are rolling on offense. I think that they're going to have a huge victory. I'm going to go 34-13. I think it's going to be a blowout. And I do think that the defense is going to
You're going to go half. You're going to go hit the under by half a point.
34-13. So because I don't trust that Jaguars offense. And I do think that the Colts are going to have a better game on defense. And I think we might get a little bit more out of the pass rush. And I think the offense will continue to roll. I think Jonathan Taylor will have probably another game where he's close to 150 yards. I think Carson Wentz takes care of the ball. 34-13 Colts.
Okay. I was thinking more like 42 million to 0. No. I'm going to go 42-17. 42-17 Colts. Yeah, we've put a lot of 40s up. Flus figures it out. I doubt it. That's why I'm saying at least 17. I think it'd be more, honestly. I think they'll probably be in the 20s, but I'll go with 17 for now. Because I don't have a lot of faith in the defense right now.
I will say this: if the Colts they'll
put up over 20 points and turn over the ball twice at least.
I don't think the Colts, or I should say, if the Colts don't have, like, the Colts defense does not have a good showing against the Jaguars, I think it's going to be very telling about how they'll play against Buffalo next week.
It's going to be tough. But if the Colts beat the Jags, Colts are better than the Bills. Fact. All right, Andrew, let's talk about the injuries.
So the injuries, honestly, not a bad injury report right now. It's only been one day of practice, but things are looking up. T.Y. Hilton was limited today, wearing a red non-contact jersey with his concussion. So it looks like he's in the final stages of the concussion protocol. So he should be good to go and be back on Sunday, which is another weapon for this offense. Darius Leonard and Quentin Nelson were both limited today with their ankle injuries, which Been that way all year. Nothing to worry about there. Braden Smith, while he didn't practice today, like I said earlier, Frank Reich said he was fairly optimistic Smith would play, and that's why I'm putting him as my X factor, because I expect him to play. And then Xavier Rhodes didn't practice with the calf injury, so I mean, obviously that calf injury is limiting him quite a bit. Maybe it's time to sit him down and let Isaiah Rodgers, who's been playing better than Xavier Rhodes, in my opinion, let Isaiah Rodgers get some playing time and start out at that outside corner spot.
I'd love a little Kenny Moore pick six. That'd be awesome. If there's a pick six by Kenny Moore, though, we need more than 38 points. I expect the offense to do 38 on their own. Yeah, always coming through. Love that. All right. Next, week 10 picks. We ready? Let's week to finish week 9. What? Let's do it, you said. Titans beat the Rams 28-16. It might be finally time to admit, Andrew, that the Titans are just damn good.
So I think
Rams did not play well. But
I if people keep saying that the Titans are just lucky or these don't mean anything, the Titans are a good team.
Their defense is better than I thought it was.
If you're not admitting that, you're just kidding yourself. And honestly, even if they do have a little bit of luck on their side, the really good teams are both good and have a little bit of luck. And right now, that's what the Titans have. So the Titans are very good, and they're going to be a tough team, regardless of if they have Derrick Henry or not. They're going to be a tough team moving forward.
They're winning the games that are supposed to be helping us out.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's killing us. Steelers 29, Bears 27. Brandon Stuthers is saying Detroit's going to beat the Steelers this week. That's hilarious. I hope so. I mean, no, I don't. It'll kill my parlay, but Steelers did beat the Bears. Bears aren't good. Steelers, I can't believe the Steelers gave up 27 points. I did not watch this game.
You missed a game where officiating was absolutely absurd.
Oh, I did hear about some of this.
The Bears got hosed on multiple different plays, and it really changed the game in favor of the Steelers. So
I saw that
the Steelers and Justin Fields actually led the Bears down in under 2 minutes and got a touchdown, but there was about 1:40 left on the clock. Too much time for Big Ben, and the Steelers marched right back down the field. But yeah, the referees in this game, not a good game at all.
I literally saw a highlight where a referee stuck his ass out as a player was running by, and then threw a flag on the player for running into him.
So the flag wasn't for running into him. The flag was the flag was on taunting, because Cassius Smart just stared. He just stared at the Steelers sidelines, and when he was walking back to the Bears sideline, that's when the ref stuck his butt out into Cassius Smart and then threw the flag. Yeah, very bad officiating. Those, I mean, my opinion on the officiating in the NFL, absolutely atrocious. And I think these referees
I'm hearing people calling for an investigation for cheating.
They should be penalized more and held more accountable. Just because these referees have a union and just because they've had experience, they shouldn't be above reproach. Referees should be vastly punished if they have terrible games like that, because it not only does it affect the teams, it affects people's jobs. It now affects, with all the sports gambling going on, it affects a lot of people outside of the game. It's a bigger thing than what it used to be.
Can get the NFL in trouble.
Exactly.
Lawsuit wise because of the gambling. It's legal. The league said the refs did nothing wrong. Okay. Yeah, but that's what the league does. All right. Pick'em standings. Yours truly, 83-53. Not as good as last year. I think I was still in the 90s, 90% some at this point last year.
You weren't 90% correct. You were in the 90th percentile on ESPN.
I think at this point I might have still been 90% correct.
You were in the 70%, because I wasn't near 90% correct. And we were close.
80. I had to have been an 80. Either way, I was killing it. This year I'm not. 83, 53, 61%. Andrew is a game behind, 82 and 54. I reign supreme still. And this week, I don't expect us to pick too many differently, but let's get started. Ravens at Dolphins. You're going Dolphins, right?
Absolutely not. Sorry, Tyler. I'm going with the Ravens. The Dolphins, with whether it's Tua or it's Jacoby Brissett, either way, it's not going to make a difference. The Ravens are going to win.
Same. Yeah, Ravens. This next one, actually, I'm tempted.
What's your reason? What's your reason?
Because I think the Falcons defense is pretty good. I think the Cowboys defense is not great aside from a couple great pieces. And I think Matt Ryan takes care of business against defenses like that. But I don't know if Dak can have that bad of a week 2 weeks in a row. So I'm gonna go Cowboys, but I want you to know that I was extremely tempted. You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm over the Falcons. I'm going Cowboys. Like you said, Dak Prescott.
You're gonna do it.
I do not expect Dak Prescott to have a bad week 2 weeks in a row. And I think now that he's got a game back under his belt after the injury, I think he'll be just fine. Cowboys will win.
Of course, you're picking your dad. This next one, though, feels like a trap. Everything points to Titans, and that's who I'm going to pick. But I didn't bet on this one. I stayed away from this one in Bad Beats with Brandon because the Titans, all these teams they beat, and I feel like they're like, all right, now we can breathe a little. Trevor Siemian, Taysom Hill did not look good, that whole thing. But yeah, the Titans probably still win this.
I think the Titans will win it as well. I do think that it's going to come down to, well, the strengths of the two teams are probably the Tennessee offense and the New Orleans defense. I think it's going to come down to the opposite side. It's going to come down to that New Orleans offense versus that Tennessee defense. And from what I've seen the past couple weeks, I would go with Tennessee's defense, especially with Trevor Siemian at the helm.
Yeah. Colts, we both picked, obviously, against the Jags. I want to hear your next one. Browns at Pats.
I think I'm going Browns here. It's
the underdog.
It's at Foxborough, and they are the underdog. But this team doesn't have to worry about Odell Beckham Jr. anymore. And you saw it last week. It seemed like there was just new life within this offense, this team. Mac Jones, I think, now has a target on him after what he did to Brian Burns. Did you see that replay where when he was sacked by Brian Burns, he then took a hold of Brian Burns' ankle and twisted it while he was on the ground? Mac Jones has a target on his back, and I think opposing defenses are going to be looking at that. So
he's going to get hit hard.
I think
Jason Garrett. Not Jason Garrett. Miles Garrett.
Miles Garrett. He's probably going to take his helmet off and beat Mac Jones with it.
A shoe. He's going to take his shoe off.
Take his shoe off? Why the shoe?
Well, because this guy's going after ankles. Yeah.
Well, Miles Garrett specializes in assaulting people with helmets. So but yeah, I'm going to go with the Browns on this one.
That was the most wild night of info. That was so wild. Was that last year? Or the year before?
It was 2 years ago.
Okay, it was wild, hilarious. Bills at Jets. Bills. I'm going Browns as well. Sorry,
okay.
Browns. Yeah,
I'm going Bills here. I think they bounce back. They can't have 2 bad weeks in a row against bad teams. Josh Allen will come out wanting to prove himself, and we just saw the Jets. Jets aren't very good, so I'm going Bills.
Lions at Steelers.
Man, I want to pick the Lions just because they got to get there first. They got to get their first win sometime, right?
Not this week.
But not this week. I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, Steelers. Bucks at man, these comments now. We were always like, oh my God, comment more, everybody. And now they just distract me the whole show, and I can't stop reading them all.
We love the comments. These comments are awesome.
Too. Mike White. All right, Bucks at Washington football team. I'm picking the Bucks, and I'm picking them to cover. I can't remember. They're like -11 or something.
Well, the Bucks do have quite a few
coming off a loss and a bye, right?
They're coming off a loss. Did they lose? Who did they play? Oh, the Saints. The Saints. That's right. Yeah, I'm taking the Bucks. They are pretty banged up on the offensive side of the ball. Doesn't look like Antonio Brown or Rob Gronkowski are going to play, and then maybe Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin is questionable as well. So I'm going Bucks though. I mean the Washington football team just they don't have a quarterback. They can't compete, and the defense has been disappointing.
Did I miss any OBJ news? I saw that Bruce Arians pretty much just said we've got plenty of receivers. No, he said too many. He said too many letters. We're fine.
Yeah, that's right. As of right now, Odell Beckham Jr. has not signed with the team. I didn't put this in NFL news, so I'll just say it here. It sounds like he's narrowed it down to 3 teams. The teams are the Packers, the Chiefs,
Seahawks,
and the Saints.
Saints.
No Seahawks. The Saints.
Bullshit.
The Saints, the Chiefs, and the Packers are the top 3 teams.
If I'm him, I'm wanting to go to the Chiefs or the Packers. Devontae in the past tried to get Odell to come to the Packers. Anyway, Panthers at Cardinals.
Oh, and also, real quick, the Patriots, I heard, are making a last-second push to try to get Odell, but still,
he's always wanted to play for Bill.
His top 3 teams are still the Packers, Saints, and Chiefs.
Yeah, well, Deshaun Watson's still a Houston Texan, so we'll see. Panthers at Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are going to just mollywop these Panthers. They're not good.
Yeah, whether Kyler Murray plays or not, Sam Darnold's hurt. PJ Walker's going to be playing. There's no way the Panthers are going to be able to keep up with the Cardinals.
PJ Walker, ultimate quarterback. Vikings at Chargers. This one's tough.
Really?
I mean, we both are going to pick the same team, but you don't think it was a little tough to make that? Like, you hesitated when you thought about it.
I didn't.
I don't know.
I didn't, just because the Vikings can't beat good teams. We saw them have a lead against Dallas. They lost it. They had a lead against Baltimore and lost it. I wouldn't be surprised they have a lead against the Chargers this week, and they're going to lose that one too. I'm going Chargers.
Chargers. Also Chargers. Eagles at Broncos. I'm tempted. I kind of like the Eagles in this one.
Are you going Eagles?
No Von Miller. I don't know.
Because Von Miller's on the Rams now.
Because it's in Denver.
I
can't do it.
Falling off the
Broncos.
I'm going Eagles. Eagles on this one. This is the one I think we're going to differ. The Eagles have been playing a lot better. And Teddy Two Gloves has not impressed me. The Broncos defense doesn't have Von Miller now. They don't have Bradley Chubb. They don't have much of a pass rush. I think Jalen Hurts might have a big game, so I'm going to go Eagles.
Seahawks at Packers. We can put the caveat on this one, okay? If Aaron Rodgers plays, Packers easy. Okay, so that's my pick. That's my expectation. But if he does not play, Seahawks by 1,000,000. And I will come in and change this pick. I'm giving myself permission right now. If Aaron Rodgers does not play, I'm changing this pick.
So Russell Wilson is back this week. And
I did not know that.
It looks like Aaron Rodgers will be back as well. I'm still going Packers though. I think this is one of my favorite
non-division rivalries in the league.
Yeah, I'm going Packers. I think with Aaron Rodgers back, I mean, you're going to see a good Packers team again. It's as simple as that. So I think Packers will win in Russell Wilson's return.
Chiefs at Raiders.
I'm gonna let you go first on this one.
I just went first for the Packers Seahawks. I'm going Chiefs. I think they're not where they need to be yet, but I think they're getting there, and I think the Raiders are going to slowly unravel.
I think this game is very tough, actually, because I mean the Chiefs don't look good. They really don't. No. And the Raiders have looked good, but I think they just lost to the Giants. And they had more issues this past week for another player. So there's just so many distractions going around. I'm going to go the Chiefs as well, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders do win just because of how bad the Chiefs have looked. But I just think there's too many distractions around that team right now.
That's fair. Sorry, picking my most points and least points. So did you just pick the Raiders?
No, I picked the Chiefs. You didn't listen to a single word I said.
Not a word. I was picking my things. Rams at 49ers. I'm pretty sure the spread is only like 3. Go ahead and hammer the Rams. They're going to destroy the 49ers coming off a loss.
I'm going Rams as well. The 49ers do not look good. They really don't. They haven't looked good since the Colts game, since before the Colts game, actually. So I think the Rams do bounce back. They were pretty embarrassed by the Titans, and I think that they'll play pretty well on Monday night.
What's the score?
I'm going 28-17 Rams.
42-21. That offense is
Ooh.
going to come back. Cooper Kupp's going to have a monster game. Who's going to score the most points this week, Andrew?
I'm going with the Colts. I'm going Colts this week. I think 34. Did you pick the Colts as well? He did pick the Colts. Yeah.
And least points? Did you see my
points? Least points. I'm gonna go Miami.
I went Jets.
I'm gonna go Miami against Baltimore.
Oh, dude, this is awesome. This is awesome. Who else? Somebody else got fined. We're going to talk about this. News around the league. What did we differ on? One game?
One game, Eagles Broncos.
Safe. I'm safe this week. Can't lose my lead. All right. News around the league. The NFL fines the Packers $300,000 and QB Aaron Rodgers and wide receiver Alan Lazard $14,650 each for violations of the league's NFL and NFLPA COVID-19 protocols. This is hilarious because who was it? Somebody else got fined.
CeeDee Lamb got fined.
CeeDee Lamb got fined more money for a uniform violation than Aaron Rodgers got for breaking COVID protocols.
Darius Leonard got fined this week for showing too much skin on his uniform as well, and it's probably the same
every week.
$20,000 that CeeDee Lamb got. So, and yet Darius Leonard wears his uniform the same way every single week. So I really don't get that. But I mean, it's because they keep seeing these replays of that big arm punching things out. And they're like, oh my God, did we see his armpit? Did we see the armpit? Can't have that. Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson finger has been activated from IR. We just mentioned that. That should be a good football game. That one I'm going to be watching. That was CD's fourth uniform violation. To be completely honest with you, Matt, I don't care. I do not give a shit. Maybe that's why it was $20,000.
I don't care.
Maybe it goes up or something.
I don't care. It doesn't matter. Aaron Rodgers broke COVID protocols. Kind of a little bit more of a deal than uniforms. Is my point.
I won't get into it. Let's move on.
Okay. Seahawks said that already. Panthers quarterback Sam Darnold fractured scapula. Ouch. Will miss several weeks. PJ Walker will be the starter while Darnold is out. Good for PJ.
Formerly known as Philip Walker of the
Pat
Colts.
Hamilton there?
No, Pat Hamilton is not in Carolina, I don't think. I don't know where Pat Hamilton is actually.
He's in the NFL again, I think.
Let's take a hold on.
Let's take a look under the hood while I read this. Go ahead.
Let's take a look under the hood.
Raiders release cornerback Damon Arnett after video surfaced to the former this is the Raiders. After video surfaced of former first round pick making death threats and something about guns, brandishing
means showing off guns. I thought using a big word would make you sound smart, but there was an Instagram video.
There was a typo.
No, brandishing is a real word.
You're famous for those.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the video yet, it's bad. I mean, he is saying a lot of, he's just cursing constantly, showing off his gun, saying he's going to kill somebody. Not a good look. And Damon Arnett, when he was coming into the league, had a lot of maturity issues. The Raiders thought they were going to be able to help him out and get him the help he need. And it's gone downhill. So another player I saw, and he was also in the same draft class as Henry Ruggs. So both first round picks of the Raiders, again, in that 2020 draft class, now off the team. And I think the only player remaining from their 2020 draft class is like a single fourth round pick or something already. So what a terrible draft class for the Las Vegas Raiders. And
why that character is so important.
I wonder, are teams going to have to, or if you're with the Las Vegas Raiders, are you going to have to start looking at players the way that like Miami does it, where you have to have mature guys coming in because that city will swallow guys up? It seems like it's doing it over and over again now. And when you have these young guys coming into a city like Las Vegas, you're a professional athlete, you're making a lot of money. There's a lot of temptation around there. And if you're not strictly about ball, the city can really take over you.
You take you over.
You get it.
Either way, Matt just kind of read your mind there. I just thought that was funny. Browns and guard Wyatt Teller agree. I guess I'm a little ahead of the game here. Browns and guard Wyatt Teller agree to a 4-year, $56.8 million extension. And Browns and guard Joel Bitonio agree to a 3-year, $48 million extension.
So the Browns lock up their 2 Pro Bowl guards for the foreseeable future. Both those guys are ranked 2nd and 3rd, according to Pro Football Focus, respectively. So, yeah, I mean, the Browns' offensive line,
You said 2nd and 3rd, right?
Yeah, 2nd and 3rd. I don't know who's first.
Right.
I don't think it's Quentin Nelson right now. But as far as a unit, I think the Browns probably have the best offensive line in the league, and that's why you see Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, part of the reason why they have so much success there in Cleveland.
All right. Back to the Damon Arnett thing. Did anyone specifically tell him he wasn't allowed to make death threats and show off guns on Instagram? Because if not, I feel like this is an unfair move.
I mean, it just being a decent human being, you don't show off guns and say, I'm going to kill you, and then say the N-word constantly and everything like that. I mean, you don't really have to be told that. Just be a decent human being.
Also, Matt, you're a little too for the shield in regards to this fine situation for me right now, Matt. Cut it out. You probably love the refs too, don't you? Don't you? All right, let's move it along to my segment, Bad Beats with Brandon. All right, of course.
Let's see how much money we can lose this week.
$5 if you're smart, maybe 10. Big fat 12 pick plus 53,371 and $5 will win you $2,673.54. Let's get to it. We got, why is this so in a weird order? Anyway, Detroit Lions at the Pittsburgh Steelers. I got the Steelers minus 400. I got the Rams minus 4 at minus 110. This is why it's so high, is because I threw some point spreads in here. Buffalo Bills minus 13 at minus 109. Cleveland Browns plus 104. Buccaneers minus 9.5, minus 113. Kansas City Chiefs minus 141. Chargers minus 160. Arizona Cardinals minus 10.5 at minus 109. Baltimore Ravens minus 385. Colts Jaguars over 47.5, minus 108. Dallas Cowboys minus 435, and Green Bay Packers minus 3.5, expecting Aaron Rodgers to play. That's at minus 113. $5 bet. It's gonna win that. Gonna win that money. Gonna win that money. I think it could win. I think it could. Really think it could. That's Bad Beats with Brandon.
Say that every week where you say you think it's going to win, but hey, I respect it. I mean, I just need I need anything to hit. I'm going to throw some more single game bets out here. I have been absolute garbage in betting, and I'm still ice cold. And I think I really need to stop betting on college football, because that's getting the weekend off to a rough start, and then my NFL picks haven't been hitting either.
That's fair. I don't want any excuses out of you, Matt.
Hey, Matt, all love on this side. Brandon can be a hater, but thanks for tuning into the show. I'm not a hater. I'm just more fun than you. Go follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at A Colts Podcast. Tell your friends about A Colts Podcast. Hey, man, I love the Colts, and I love podcasts. What should I do? You should listen to A Colts Podcast. You know what I'm saying? Still the most genius name for a Colts podcast that a person could come up with. Wish I could remember who did that. Oh, that's right. It was me. Should be a good weekend. Should be a good game. I am on the wrong screen. Still looking to get to 100 subscribers, though. Let's get those subscriber numbers up.
Share it. Hit the share button. Send it to your friends. Send it to your mom and let her know I said, what's up, and go Colts.
Go Colts.
Let this moment become a cherished memory. And then remember, a legacy is only worthwhile when there is a future to fuel. God bless you, and God bless football.